A new Social Security formula to determine your check amount. I have all the details and what you need to know right here in the video, so let's get right into it. I know in this video, I want to share with you the details of a new Social Security formula to determine your check amount that would actually be a good thing for beneficiaries. So let's get into it and talk through all the details as well as what they're now saying. Really fast before we do, thanks so much for joining me. If you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, please make sure to subscribe right down below the video. It's totally free to do so, and I'm here for you right by your side every single day to help you out in any way that I possibly can, as well as keeping you informed of all of these changes as things are happening very, very fast. Also, as long as you're right down below the video hitting that subscribe button, if you haven't done so yet, make sure to hit the like button and of course share this video with your friends, family, and social media so we can continue to help out and inform everybody of what is really going on out there during this very busy and confusing time we're currently living through. So again, thanks so much for joining me. Please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet, and let's get into it and talk about a new formula and your Social Security checks? Yeah, exactly. Let me talk you through the details about this because the current formula that is in place right now is actually a detriment to a lot of beneficiaries out there because for a lot of reasons that I will share with you here in this video, but long story short that is if you have a year with zero income, essentially that counts as a zero against your averages for your monthly benefit. However, they want to change this formula, and unlike a lot of things that are going on out there right now, this would actually be a welcomed change, and it would actually be a good thing for Social Security beneficiaries. I know, it's not that often that we actually see something that comes out, it's like, oh wow, this is actually good. So this one would actually be a good change, changing that formula, which would ultimately translate into higher checks for beneficiaries. I know, shocking, right? Exactly. Let me tell you the details about it. All right, so the current formula in place right now is that they take your highest 35 years of income and they use those 35 years and they basically run it through a formula, okay? So they basically add it all up, they divide it by the number of months, and then they come up with a number, okay? So again, I can get into the details about that in a separate video. I don't want to break down, the whole details of that right now in this video, but essentially they use their 35 highest income years to determine your check amount, okay? However, get this. During that 35 years, if there's any years that are zero, guess what happens? They give you a big old zero, and that lowers the average significantly, okay? Let me give you a quick example. Let's just say that somebody starts working at the age of, say, 20, okay? They work for 5 years until they're 25, and they decide, hey, it's time to start a family. I'm going to take 2 years off or 3 years off of time to raise a family. And again, this is not unheard of. A lot of people do this, right? They take some time off to maybe raise a family or maybe do some traveling or maybe go back to school or whatever the reasons are. It literally doesn't matter. There's a lot of things that happen right there. And a lot of people, do this maybe in their early to mid or maybe late 20s, or a lot of people maybe do something like this where they take a little bit of time off. And again, totally normal. A lot of people do something like this. Of course, not everybody, but it is pretty common. Now, here's what happens. The person worked for 5 years in this example, okay? So these 5 years, in the event, that at some point in the future, these 5 years may be used to determine how much their check is going to be when they start receiving benefits. Now, let's say that they took 2 years off, okay? Had no income, zero, okay, for 2 years. During that 35-year period of time, they will be used, these 2 years of zero income will be used against them when it comes down to calculating their monthly benefit. And unfortunately, that's going to lower the average because zeros is not a good thing, right? That throws off the average and it skews the average significantly when it comes down to those benefits, okay? However, now let's say that this person is now, say, 27, 2 years later, and now they want to go back to work and they work for the next, 30 years or something like that. Okay, fine. Now all of that is going to be used to determine their monthly benefit, okay? Even the couple years there that were zero, those will also be thrown into the mix. However, let's just say that this person works for 37 years. Well, then obviously the 2 years of zero would be thrown out because they only use the 35 highest income years, okay? So if they work for 37 years, then obviously the 2 years of zero would be thrown out, okay? But if those years are not there, if they work anything less than 35, anything that has a zero in it is going to be used against them. Again, lowering that average benefit or lowering that down, and then again, lowering the monthly benefit as well, okay? So not good stuff. However, here's the new formula that they are now talking about and that they want to implement, which ultimately would be a pretty good thing for Social Security beneficiaries. Here's what they want to do. rather than using the 35 highest income years, they just want to use the those years that have income. So again, throwing out automatically any years that have zero income. Now again, this would be awesome because here's why. It would automatically raise the average because, again, like I said earlier, they take all those years, the 35 highest years, they basically add it all up, divide by months and things like this, okay? But here's the thing. If there's a zero in there, again, like I've said a few times now, it lowers that average. However, if they throw out all the zeros and they only focus on the years in this new formula that actually have income within them, well, now no zeros in there, so it's not going to be lowering the average as much. Now, if somebody had a very low income for, say, a few of those years, then obviously those would be added in as well. Again, throwing off the averages a little bit, but it wouldn't be nearly as bad as a zero. Zeros are like the worst thing when it comes down to averages because it skews the average significantly, right? So anyway, that's what they want to do with this new formula is essentially throw out all the years that have zeros and only focus on the years that actually have income. Not bad, right? Now, here's the thing. This would actually determine how much that person would be getting. And again, benefits would be higher for these individuals in the event of this new formula because, like I said so many times now, no zeros. Even lower income years would still be added, but anything is better than a zero when it comes down to averages, okay? Anytime that we throw an average into anything, it's always adding it up, adding it all up, adding up all the numbers, and then dividing by the numbers, the total numbers, okay? If that kind of makes sense, and that gives us an average. So it would be a very, very different number if we had, say, 30 years or 35 years of, income anywhere across the board versus 35 years with, average income and then, 3 or 4 or 5 zeros added into there as well. It'd be a very, very different number. So if we throw out all the zeros, not bad, right? Now we're looking at a much higher number. So this is the new formula that they're now talking about. And again, this would actually be a good thing for beneficiaries. Now, we've seen a lot of different proposals out there. We've seen a lot of different piece of bills, packages, proposals being introduced in Congress to change Social Security, to reform the program, to raise benefits, to raise taxes, to increase solvency, to change the COLA, to throw in a $200 raise, to push out the full retirement age. I mean, seriously, the list goes on and on, right? I could sit here for a while talking about all the different things. We've covered all of them in separate videos here, but this is a new formula idea. And again, how many times have we heard about a new formula? Not very, right? Like almost never, right? They rarely talk about changing the formulas of anything. All they essentially say is, let's just raise taxes and push out the full retirement age. That's the solution. Is it really the solution? Probably not, right? They just keep going back to the same old thing because apparently lawmakers, that's the only thing that they know is, pushing out the full retirement age and raising taxes. Well, if they were a little bit creative for a minute, they could probably think of some better solutions. And again, this would be exactly one of those. So pretty cool stuff here. And again, I'll continue to watch this just like I'm watching everything else out there. However, to be fair, and again, I always say this in my videos, this has not been passed yet, but this is one of the things that we can throw into the mix out there as far as what they want to do to potentially change Social Security, to reform the program, to raise benefits. And ultimately, this would maybe not be like directly raising benefits by $200 a month or $100 a month or whatever it happens to be that they're talking about out there. But this would ultimately raise benefits by not essentially reducing benefits because of zeros being added into a person's work history over the last 35 years, if that kind of makes sense, right? So it's not like, throwing a $200 raise right on top, but it's more like giving people more money over the long course of time because now benefits are essentially higher because the zeros are tossed out. Make sense? Anyway, of course, I'll continue to watch all of this. I'm watching everything coming out of Congress, out of the administration, the lawmakers. There's a lot of stuff out there right now. Like, seriously, a lot of stuff out there. They all completely recognize Social Security needs to be reformed. Something needs to be done about this. This program administers benefits to about 70 million beneficiaries every single month. So, is that pretty important? Yeah, it's very, very important, right? It's very important to do something about this, and they know just as well as we do, if they don't do something about this, they're going to hear about it, especially with the 2024 elections coming up and everything like that. Oh yeah, they're going to hear about it, right? From us, the people, the voters, okay? So that's why this is very important. Anyway, but not only that, I mean, it's not even from a side, it's totally aside from voting, but it's just important because the program is in major financial issues right now, and it needs some major reform. It just needs to be fixed. It's been a very long time. and that time is now, right? So anyway, of course, I'll keep you posted if I get any more details on this or any of the other proposals or packages or new introductions of anything else out there. Of course, I'll bring that to your attention right away as well. So please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Share the video with your friends, family, social media, and go back and check out any of the other thousands of videos here on the channel. Until next time, enjoy your day, take care, have a good one, and catch you again later in the next video.